All right. Okay, Cuyahoga County Public Works Procurement and Contracting Committee meeting for Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. We call to order. Roll call.
Calling the roll, Mr. Tuma.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Conwell.
Present.
Ms. Baker.
Here.
Mr. Sweeney.
Present.
There is a quorum.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any public comment this morning?
No, Mr. Chair, no one has signed in.
Okay, and if I could have approval of minutes from the June 30th, 2021 meeting?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And Madam Clerk, if we could please have the first matter referred to committee read.
Resolution number 2021-0163, approving right-of-way exhibits as set forth in plat number M-5050 for replacement of Pleasant Valley Bridge number 09.68 over Cuyahoga River in the City of Independence and Village of Valley View.
All right, and if you could please state your name for the record.
Nicole English, I forget how to do this.
I know. I know.
Nice to see everyone.
See you too.
So the first item is our authority to acquire right-of-way for Pleasant Valley Road bridges. So you might remember this is kind of our first step once we've started construction plans, and then we are ready to go out and buy the right-of-way to do the construction. This is actually a project of 3 bridges that are kind of right in a row along Pleasant Valley. So there's 20 parcels total, but only 4 owners. Most of the ownership is with the national park and the cities. So we still have to go through an acquisition process, but it's a little bit lengthy because it's with them, but normally pretty, not controversial, or, they realize we've been working with them on the project up until this point. So the overall project is not going to be sold until probably late 22. So construction wouldn't begin until early 23. However, we need to work on the right-of-way now in order to finish the construction plans. This estimate for the right-of-way purchase is only $50,000. The overall project cost, though, is about $18 million, of which $9 million is federal funding. And we anticipate getting issue 1 to cover some of the county share. These are county-owned bridges, so it is our responsibility to fix them up. And they are in need of repair, which is why we're working on the project.
Okay. So as far as the time frame here, you said some work's not going to be done for a couple years, but this process needs to start? Is that my understanding?
Right. So we have to, it takes about a year to clear right-of-way. So we need to have the right-of-way cleared because it's a federal job. It has to be cleared before we can file the plans with ODOT to actually bid. So that's why it's starting now.
Okay. Can this have a full 3 readings?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Even though we'll go into September, but it's okay.
It's okay. Okay. Questions from my colleagues? Okay. Ms. Baker?
What's the rating on the building?
I should have brought that. I have a bunch of the right-of-way exhibits with me. I'll double check. There's 3 bridges. I can send them to you. I believe 2 of them are in worse condition, but the other one is just a little bit above it. And at this point, since we're going to shut the road down, it kind of made sense. And so we have federal funding on the 2 worst bridges through the County Engineers Association. So the fact that we got funding through them makes me think it's probably around a 4, but I'll send you the forms.
If I may, so if it's rated a 4, what is the best, 10?
Mm-hmm.
So is that any concern about it being safe to drive on?
So there was possibly a load limit put on it, so we've been having our maintenance crews go out and do some little Band-Aid repairs to keep it so that it's open, because this is a pretty busy corridor, and so we don't really want to shut the bridges down. So there's been pieces where they've fallen below a level when they do an inspection, and so they'll go out and do some welding, put a plate out there, just try to get us to the project. So no concern. We're keeping up on it, so it shouldn't have to be closed, but it is in, kind of poor shape.
Because if it's a point where it's beyond repair, then better to close it than have any problems.
Yeah, and our bridge inspection guys are out here even a little more regular. They inspect all the bridges annually. The ones that we know are troublesome, they're going out and checking a little more often. And then the city also is kind of on alert. If they see something, they call us. So they've been out there quite a bit and doing a little Band-Aids. This one and Rockside Road bridges kind of have a similar story, which are just, nearby that they're keeping an eye on.
Okay, good to know. Thanks.
All right. Mr. Miller, did you have something to add? I have a question. Yes, Mr. Miller.
My question is whether the acquisitions are temporary or permanent.
I do have the right-of-way plans. I think it's a combination. Let me just double check for you. The corners are typically permanent because we're expanding when you're building the new bridge, but oftentimes you're right, there is a good amount that are temporary. Most of them are looking permanent. Okay, one. I'm seeing, I believe, one, two temporary, three. Five. So 5 of the 20 are temporary, and the other 15 are permanent.
Okay, and also, an FYI, we have a council meeting next week, so if we can do 3 readings and still make April 3rd or August 3rd for the final
Oh, yeah.
passage and not have to wait till September.
Right. I'm ahead of myself. Thank you.
That's better.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Ms. Conwell?
Through the chair to Nicole, is there a limited weight capacity vehicles allowed on this? You know, you're allowing cars, but I'm just thinking.
Yeah, no, I
heavy
think that I don't believe there's a load limit. I'm not sure if you know if we've got one posted. I don't believe this one has a load limit on it now. It had been inspected where they would have recommended, but they were able to Band-Aid it to get it up because there is truck traffic down here in this area that the cities would like it to be open.
truck. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, then I'll make a motion for second reading on this.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for second reading. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, if you could please read the next resolution.
Resolution number 2021-0164, approving right-of-way exhibits as set forth in plat number M-5049 for rehabilitation of Warrensville Center Road, bridge number 05.92 East and 05.92 West over Greater Cleveland Regional Transit Authority in the city of Shaker Heights.
So this is another right-of-way approval. This is a pair of bridges that are over the railroad tracks. One carries traffic in one direction, one carries traffic in the other direction. There was some confusion, I think, on the briefing memo, it says the project's in Shaker Heights and Cleveland. It is just in Shaker Heights, however, Cleveland owns one of the parcels, which is part of Shaker Lakes, and so that goes all the way through Shaker Heights. So that's why I think there was a little confusion. So we've fixed that with our consultant and got the plans fixed up. There's 4 parcels. I believe they are City of Cleveland, City of Shaker Heights, RTA owns one, and I believe there's 1 private parcel. So this project is locally funded, and we anticipate applying for issue 1 this year for them. So the construction would also sell around late '22 for start in '23. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, and again, timeframes same as the last.
Yeah, this can go 3 readings.
Okay.
Now,
Questions?
especially since I know it's August.
Questions from my colleagues?
Yes.
Just bridge-wise, can you paint me a picture of where it's at?
So it's Warrensville Heights. It's near a school in Shaker Heights, I believe. It's going over the railroad tracks, the transit tracks. The fire station is close by also. I can get you a map too. Yeah, it's a pair of bridges. You might not even realize there's 2 when you go over because they're really just up next to each other, but they are 2 different bridges. So that's why they're called out as an east and a west on here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And Mr. Miller, you had a question?
Same question. Are the acquisitions permanent or temporary?
I believe it's, this one I don't have the files with me as far as which are temporary, but I think it's 2 and 2. I feel like we are expanding a little bit on the one side of the bridge, which is what a permanent would take would be, and then just construction on the other 2. Right. And the estimate for the acquisition is about $25,000, and that's county road and bridge funds.
And, Mr. Chair, to Ms. English, what's the total project cost?
This total project cost, these are less. I feel this is around $6 million, but let me get you the full funding strategy because we do not have federal funds on these ones. However, the condition of these had fallen pretty low, and because the fire station is nearby is kind of how it got on our main radar. The city had been watching these, but I can give you the full funding breakdown because we're getting ready to apply for issue 1 for this one.
Okay, thank you.
Real quick, so if you don't have the full funding, do you know the right-of-way cost?
Yes, $25,000.
Oh, that's $25,000.
Correct. Total.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we're anticipating Shaker Heights, normally Cleveland, questionable. Shaker Heights will donate because, this is, even though it's our own bridge, they're pretty good as a partner. They realize they want this done, and especially done effectively so that we can get to their fire station. Some other cities do ask for compensation for their parcels.
Okay, appreciate that. Ms. Baker?
Just the rating on this bridge, is it,
I will check those for you too. Sorry about this. I'm normally at my desk and can get you this info. Now I'm forgetting to bring it all with me. But I'll send you the project data sheets, which have those, it has the total project cost and it has the,
just wondering if we're dealing with a critical bridge that you're really concerned about, or one that
yeah, no, this one, I think they initially were putting a load limit on, and there was some big concerns because the fire station is right nearby, and then they would be having to detour around. So I know it's had some major concerns, which is why we started the project. But I'll get you the actual number.
Okay, Mr. Miller?
I'll move for referral on second reading.
Thank you. We have a motion for second reading on R 2021-0164. Do I have a second? Oh, I'm sorry. Before we move forward, Ms. Conwell has another question.
The chair to Nicole, what would be the rating if we just could not drive on it?
It's not necessarily driven by rating because the rating is made up of a couple different pieces. So sometimes just one part of the rating will trigger a closure, if for some reason the deck no longer can handle a load. So it's not like a number that you'd say, oh, if it got to 3, we have to shut it down. It's actually a piece of the loading that they'll look at. So it's not just an even number. Like you could have a bridge that stays a 4 forever, like if it's a concrete arch, that it's just the way they do the rating, it comes out a 4, but it's pretty strong and it's not going to fail. But then you could also have a bridge that's a 5, but because maybe the deck is failing, you're going to shut it down for a load. So it's just not a number we could just say. It's really based on the more details of the bridge inspection.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Any other questions before we proceed? Ms. Baker?
So based on that, the rating that you're going to give us really doesn't, it gives us an indication, but it doesn't, does it say on the sheet that you're going to send us
If
the
it's if
quality of the?
Yeah, so typically we'll tell you the number. I can give you the bridge inspection sheet too, and then we'll say if it is load limited, because that kind of tells you that there is something that's of major concern. The number helps because when we apply for funding, that's a lot of times what they're looking at.
Right.
So they'll say, well, you can't, like the federal county engineer's office, they won't even look at a bridge unless it's 5 or less. Like it's just not eligible for funding. So that number gives you kind of a baseline, more of a cumulative number, and then you really have to dig into the inspection to see the other pieces. But load limit is kind of the buzz. If you hear a load limit, there's a problem with that bridge. I mean, because we can't now have heavy trucks on it.
Okay,
and for
good.
some reason.
So I know what to look for.
Yep.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, we have a motion for second reading. Could I have a second?
Second, Sweeney.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for second reading. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Madam Clerk, the third resolution, please.
Resolution number 2021-0165, authorizing an amendment to contract number 700 with Schindler Elevator Corporation for elevator maintenance and repair services for various county facilities.
Okay, and if you could please state your name for the record.
Morning, Mr. Chairman. Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. Good morning.
How are you doing?
Mr. Chairman and committee members, this is our elevator maintenance and repair services contract for county various wide facilities. Specifically, this contract covers the repair and maintenance of our elevator systems in 17 county buildings and 112 elevator and escalator systems throughout various buildings. This 2-year contract extension and amendment and additional dollars exercises an option that was in the original request for proposal at the discretion of both parties. So that's why we're amending a 2-year option, is to exercise that contract clause. So this will take us through August of 2023. The pricing with the amendment is right in line with the pricing that was on the original competitive request for proposal, save for a 3% increase to account for labor rates that have escalated. With that, I stand ready to answer any of your questions on this.
All right. How many buildings does it cover again, county?
17 of our buildings and 112 elevator and escalator systems in those 17 buildings.
Okay. Questions from my colleagues?
Yes.
Mr. Miller.
So, does the contract have any options for extensions after this one, or is this it?
Through the chair to Councilman Miller, this is it. There is only one extension option within the contract.
And how many companies are out there that could realistically provide the service?
The last two competitive efforts, I can speak to the last one that I was around for. There are four that have traditionally responded to this RFP. They're some of the nationwide elevator contract providers.
So I presume when we get into 23 that this is going to be put out for bid?
It will be, yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions, additional questions? Ms. Conwell?
Through the chair to Mr. Reimer, was there another contract recently that had to do with elevators? I thought I remembered.
So if you may recall, you may be thinking of through our COVID-19 emergency building modifications program, we did do a cooperative purchase agreement with Schindler as a separate contract for the escalator system, ultraviolet light, and handrail replacement, clean rail replacement at the Justice Center for the 12 escalators at the Justice Center. Okay. That was a separate contract effort that was awarded, I believe, through Board of Control at the time.
I thought I remembered something. And in terms of many of these buildings that are in this contract are HHS buildings?
The owned HHS buildings are, yes, Councilwoman. Specifically Virgil Brown, Jane Edna Hunter. I have the listing, but...
Okay, so this is just normal maintenance and those type of things?
And repairs.
And
Repairs. Should we have, for example, we had a sprinkler line break a couple years back in Virgil Brown. It damaged a lot of the Virgil Brown elevator systems, and this contract, through a repair allowance, repaired those elevator systems back up to compliance.
And once they're repaired, is that when the certificate in the elevator gets updated?
So that process is through the city of Cleveland, and this contract is well in tune with the city inspectors that come out to the buildings and do their annual inspection. The county pays a separate invoice to the city of Cleveland for registration of their elevator systems. That pays for the inspection annually. We get those inspection action items from the inspector. This contract then, if there are any repair items or maintenance items that need to be addressed at that time, this contract takes care of that. To directly answer your question, I believe it's just the invoicing and paying of the annual invoicing that results in the elevator certificates, plus any inspection.
But don't they have to, once it's maintenance and repaired, they have to come back out and check, correct?
Right, there is an annual, yes, and there is follow-up to any discrepancies that any inspectors notice, and this contract manages that follow-up inspection with the city of Cleveland.
My name added. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Ms. Baker?
So when we upgraded to the elevators with touchless, I believe we did that for all elevators throughout the county. Does that get us ahead of schedule if repairs were needed at that time?
So we have not gone touchless on our elevator buttons, no, Councilwoman. So now, coincidentally, Schindler has presented us with some holographic technology that they are bringing to the market, and so we'll be considering that with this new contract extension, depending on the cost proposal that comes in. But right now, the only systems that we did upgrade to any kind of UV feature were those escalator systems in the Justice Center that has a ultraviolet light disinfecting technology in the escalator operation, and then antimicrobial rail that was replaced.
I thought that we upgraded the elevators for those coming in to be touchless for the cleanliness of not having to. We didn't do that.
To the best of my knowledge, no, Councilwoman.
Okay. Any Mr. Miller?
Follow up on that, if you went with this new holographic technology, would this create additional costs that would have to come back to council?
It would depend on the level of the cost, Councilman. There are, with our repairs allowance, we may be able to handle a minor modernization program, but I would suspect that that would be something that would likely come back to council or the Board of Control for approval.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I won't get into what a touchless elevator might look like, but if there are no further questions, I see the time frame on here. It runs through 8/31.
Through August 31st, the current contract, so we can go 3 readings on this, Mr. Chairman.
Okay,
And then, so this extension would take us through August 31st of 2023.
okay, with that then, I'll make a motion for second reading.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second for second reading. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Reimer.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other miscellaneous business before the meeting? Mr. Miller?
I just want to give the administration a little shout out. It's not very often that we have a committee meeting where all the legislation can go the full 3 readings. So we got, everything came in a timely fashion, and that's worthy of mention.
I second that.
Appreciate that. Okay, very good. All right. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And Public Works shall adjourn at 10:22 a.m.